So again, you can see it now how versatile this thing suddenly becomes, right? Now we have this nice little haul piece that we can use. And hopefully you guys are starting to understand and see why video games and hauls, if in case you didn't know, hopefully you guys know this or you probably wouldn't be watching this course, but this is why the stuff is laid out the way it is. This stuff is not only applicable to games though. Okay, this stuff works great for pre-rendered cinematics and film stuff. In fact, it's a huge time saver if you guys can actually work like this in your production. If your production has the time and the bandwidth to actually allow you guys to work like this is such a time saver because your layout artists will know everything's going to work. Okay, they can just start grabbing stuff from libraries that your day-to-day artists have gone through and made, which is really great. Yeah, there you go, Dave. Focus. Just get the pivot in the right position again. And it looks like I'm going to have to take this guy and modify him. Or one of these pieces and modify him. It doesn't really matter which one. Good old symmetry modifier. Okay, and sometimes this will happen, which is totally okay. This is going to snap together where the underlying pieces will actually get nuked. As long as it snaps together, it's fine. It'll seal and it'll be okay, pending you don't have any point precision errors in your engine, which all engines are around stuff, but for most of the time, this is okay. And if that happens, you can stick, like if you get flickering or whatever underneath it, you can stick another object behind it, like a BSP or a box, to catch any light leaking that happens. Not that I've ever done that, because everything I do is perfect. Total lie. I always have to end up doing stuff like that, or trying to figure out a way to fix it or whatever. I mean, nothing ever goes to. I mean, the best laid plans always go awry. It's the way it is. You learn the rules, the conventions, and stuff, so you can track down the errors and figure out why things are happening the way they are. Pivot was being weird. Just again, verifying and triple checking everything, especially when it comes to this stuff, making sure everything is snapping to the grid. Um, you know, I'm probably checking it a little bit more than what I need to, especially it's probably, not even probably, it's because you guys are definitely watching this. I want to make sure that I'm doing this as accurately as I can. But there you go. So this is a collection of some of the sets, and again, you can kind of see how quickly like the workload can grow just to even do a simple, basic little corridor hallway thing. Okay, we haven't even masked out doors and that kind of stuff, and we're gonna do that kind of on the fly later on at the end, towards the end of the tutorial. But you can really get a understanding of how, or hopefully you're starting to get an understanding of the amount of work that's going to be involved with actually creating this content and creating this content correctly. I love to model. I love to make tons, as much cool stuff as I can physically make. But in a production, you're going to find that sometimes the doing it correctly suddenly makes you work about 90% slower. And that's okay. Like that is totally okay. That is the reality. That is production. Um, but again, you need to. This is important stuff to go through and learn. It's not all about just making a cool model. I wish it was. I really wish it was. I think I would. I wouldn't be as stressed out as I am. But unfortunately, it's not. Unless you would want to do just straight concepting stuff. But production art requires you to not only be a really good artist, but also understand the rules and the confines, the content that you're creating. So, you have to deal with this stuff. You have to kind of learn it. I want to make one of those little rounded sections that you see. One of the other super big advantages to making sure that you're working like this is that it's great for gameplay. Okay, gameplay when gameplay artists and stuff are testing scenes and assets, they need consistency, and especially consistency in the art, because the last thing they want to do is make this really cool scenario where the character's hiding behind something, jumping over walls, and destroying stuff, and then they take all that work and they need to go down go down to the next series or the next hallway, and nothing, all their hard work isn't going to be there. That kind of sucks. Just going to go ahead and dice this thing up a little bit so I can figure out where to cut this. Now, truth be told, for this designer blockout, Geo, you might not actually need, I mean, not even might, you probably wouldn't even need to go in and cut this stuff up. Um, but, it's late, and I'm like, I really just want this stuff to work. Actually, I don't even think I cut it all in. No. I'm like, it's late. I just want this to work. Okay, cool. So now I can see that this wall piece is going to need to snap. And again, this is how I figure out how the blockouts go. Um, Snap that to that, remove that, grab that edge, move it there. Excellent. I think for this floor piece, I just want it to kind of seam right up into the tube thing. Make sure I'm getting rid of any unneeded vertices. One of the things that you're going to see, one of the ways I really enjoy working is I work in passes, especially when I get into the art stuff. I tend to kind of model a little heavier than what I need. It's even in production, model a little heavier than what I need, get it into context so you can see it, go in and optimize. Then we'll look at it again. Then I'll optimize. So my first pass typically is a little heavier than what the final result will end up being, and you'll see that here. Like the assets and stuff that I'll start generating will probably be a little higher in poly count than what you would typically end up with. But it's the first pass. This is kind of so I can get feedback from the team, figure out what they're expecting, figure out what their needs are, figure out what my budget is, figure out the impacts of what I'm doing, and the only way to do that is to give them something. So for me, it's good to get the ideas out there and then to see it a little bit later on down the road and adjust. See? I can model an engine, but you know what? I'm telling you what, this stuff is just driving me up a wall. Yeah, I'm like totally making this a million times more complicated than what it is. It's so funny to come back and watch the stuff after a few weeks, and you're like, ugh, you can do that faster, or you know a better way of doing that. What are you doing? But that's okay. It's par for the course. Hey, get it? You're taking a course. It's a golf joke. Course? Golf? I know, it's a terrible joke. I'll keep my damn mouth shut. Ta-da! All that work just for that. What a joke, right? But It's okay. Sometimes that stuff happens.